Hey guys, welcome in. Today the topic is skin prep. We're talking all about those things that you might apply before the foundation goes on. Things like serums and moisturizers and primers. Sometimes it's the stuff in my videos that goes a little bit under the radar because we're talking so much about makeup and the application of that. I'll hop on here and be like, okay, I already prepped my skin, but what does that really mean? Well, we're gonna go through some of my favorite things, but a big purpose of this video is to share the fact that I've found some lower cost alternatives to pretty much everything that was in my routine. And I wanted to share that with you because this is really where a huge cost can come from, I think, in our beauty routine. And I guess it totally depends on how you want to prioritize your spending. Some might say those skincare steps, spend as much as you want on them. It's an important step in the process. And I agree that it is, but I have definitely come up with some things that are really, really similar to stuff that was totally on the more expensive end. An important thing to note here is that I'm not referring to these items as total dupes. I think it's easy to dupe a lipstick shade or an eyeshadow color, but with skincare, there's more ingredients involved. There's more stuff in the nitty-gritty of these products that I'm not really looking at comparing. I'm more thinking about, oh, it's a really similar feel. It's a similar effect on the skin. It wears the same way under my makeup as the high-end option. That type of thing is what I'm looking at. Just more of a practical comparison of the way these things are used. So that's why I would call them more alternatives than a dupe. So first up, I've got a lower cost alternative to my hyaluronic acid serum, which yes, it is way down to the bottom. Not that you can really tell here, but this is from Vichy and it's the Mineral 89 Skin Fortifying Daily Booster. And I really like this stuff and I'm not even sure if it classifies as high-end, like it's not off the charts expensive, but it's a nice product. It's basically a hyaluronic acid serum that you would put on first. It would go underneath a moisturizer that you might wear. Clearly I've enjoyed it. I'm committing to using it up. I've got just like maybe 1/4 of an inch of it left in that bottle. But if you're looking for something like that that's even less pricey, you might look to the ColourPop 4th Ray line. They have something called Rainfall 2% Hyaluronic Acid Serum. The difference I would say I notice is that this is just a total serum in every sense of the word. When I think of a serum, I think of something super thin that practically kind of disappears into the skin. Like you are getting a moisture benefit from it, but it's just very thin. This is a little bit thicker actually, so it feels almost a little bit more like a gel on the skin. Don't get me wrong, it is thin, but they call it Rainfall and it's definitely a little thicker than like a water type of consistency. But if you're looking to establish that hyaluronic acid, just an intense moisture boost from a serum, you might look into this. It's definitely something I do as a first step every single day before makeup. Next, let's talk about a must-have moisturizer step, the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I do love this stuff so much. It's definitely a rich cream that you put on your skin, and I think people just love it because just by looking at your skin after you've applied a moisturizer that has no color to it or anything, you just glow. There's just that much moisture in there. It really just peps up the skin with no coverage, no nothing else. So I really do love this stuff. The consistency though is very thick and creamy. Now I've run into something that might actually be a hint thicker than that. It definitely leaves behind the same feel on the skin when you're done. It gives you that same radiance and glow because the moisture was so rich. But it's this L'Oreal Age Perfect Hydra Nutrition. This is the day cream. They also have a night cream, which I have not tried, but this is thick. It's like a balm. It is said to be for extremely dry skin. I don't even know if I'd classify my skin as extremely dry, but I still love the effect of this kind of rich moisturizer on my skin. It looks like butter. It almost feels like, I don't know, not like a stick of butter, but maybe more like a country crock type thing. You put your fingers in it. The moisture is so totally there. Like it feels great going on. It's funny how these both have that same kind of buttery look to them, but if you're looking for a really rich moisturizer, you might look to L'Oreal. They're still not giving that away, but it's a lot less than the Bobbi Brown. Now, if you're hearing me on this and you're like, okay, I like the idea of a rich moisturizer, but I'm not totally sure my skin can take that much, you might check out the e.l.f. Holy Hydration. This, I would say, is close to the Bobbi Brown, but a little bit lighter. It's really surprising. When I first got this, I remembered saying like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to be so thick. I was just thinking e.l.f. was gonna throw some random lightweight cream in a tub and call it a day, but it is really nicely hydrating. It's a great first step if you're looking to save some money and just establish that nice glow before makeup. One other thing that I have talked about recently that I do love also is from ColourPop. This would be thinner yet than the e.l.f., a little lighter feeling than the e.l.f. It has squalane in it, and I think I've described this as sneaky moisturizer. It's thinner going on, but it really does give your skin a nice drink of hydration. Using this and experimenting with it, I feel like it might be the kind of moisturizer most any skin type could get away with. Here, maybe normal to dry. This one, normal, dry, extremely dry. There's kind of like some overlap with all of these, but they're all great options and they're lower cost than the Bobbi Brown if that's something you're into but you don't want to spend the money. Now let's talk eye cream. One that I got first, I was initially exposed to it through a sample and I really did like it, so I bought the full size of the Charlotte Tilbury. It's called the Magic Eye Rescue. It's a really nice eye cream. I find it to be rich, but it's not like too goopy and thick. You kind of have to watch it on the eye creams, especially what you're considering wearing under makeup, and that's really what the topic for all this stuff is. It's pre-makeup steps. And if you put something on this under eye area that is just out of this world thick and rich, you do have to think about that you're putting your eye makeup at a bit more risk of moving around, because if your under eye is too juicy, that's going to happen. What I liked about the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Eye Rescue was that it felt really hydrating, but it wasn't too thick. It was just a really nice step to wear underneath makeup. It was stepped up moisture compared to like the CeraVe eye cream, which I talked about quite a bit in the past. I think that's a good product. This is more moisture than that, but not too goopy. I think I've found the perfect alternative to this though, and I feel like I can totally use these interchangeably. I get the same effect from both. This is the Fourth Ray, again from the ColourPop line, the Daily Eye Cream. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that moisturizer I just showed, and this is just almost exactly the same texture as the Charlotte Tilbury. I love that it has a certain amount of richness to it, but it's not so thick that it's going to cause a real problem for the makeup that sits on top of this. But I think it does deeply hydrate the eye area, and I've been wearing it all the time. I really like it. I can't really tell the difference between the two of these when I'm wearing one or the other. Now sunscreen, I wanted to bring this up because I'm not like overlooking sunscreen, but I don't really have like an amazing drugstore sunscreen that I love working into my routine. The one that I work in most often is my Drunk Elephant, and it's called the Umbra Tint Physical Daily Defense. It's an SPF 30. It has a little like hint of color in it. I think that takes away from the whitish cast that some zinc oxide sunscreens can have. So I sometimes use this, I sometimes use one from Supergoop, but I was looking through my stash and I'm like, I don't think I have a really comparable drugstore sunscreen, or just one that I'm knowing about and loving at the moment. So if you've got a great drugstore SPF option that you would like to share, definitely let us know in the comments section, because that's kind of the one step of the skin prep that I haven't totally duped. Now, if you like a cooling stick, where does a cooling stick come in the routine? Well, first off, not everybody may use one. Some people may use it in place of an eye cream. Some people might just use it all over the skin right before foundation, kind of like a primer. There is one from Tula called Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm. I've talked about this. I'm not really in love with this product, frankly. I think my drugstore alternative beats it hands down, but this is something that I think gets a lot of buzz on social media, and it's this balmy kind of stick. Really is sort of a lip balm texture. It has a bit of a cooling feel, but it's not like over the top, and you could glide this on the under eye. You could glide it all over the skin and get kind of a refreshed sort of pick-me-up type feel. It will add some moisture, or you could throw it on like later in the day if you wanted to dab it on your under eye and have a little sort of revamped moisture there. But the one that I really love is from a brand called Found, and this is exclusive to Walmart, or you can find it on the Found website. It's the Cucumber Cooling Stick, 98% natural. It says cools, calms, and depuffs the look of skin. And this is a little bit of a wider stick, but it feels so great gliding on the under eye area, gliding all over the face. It's downright like therapeutic. I love the feel. Keep it in your makeup fridge if you want it to be extra cool, but I have just loved this thing from day one. Some days I'll wear it as a primer, some days I'll sweep it on like on top of my eye cream, like dab on a little eye cream and then whoop, apply that, and I feel so refreshed and ready. For primers, I want to mention this Tatcha, the Silk Canvas. This hasn't been really like a most used primer in my collection, but since I've found something at the drugstore that I feel is so similar to this, I've sort of gone back and I'm like using this kind of primer quite a bit now, because I'm in a constant like state of comparison trying to find the best dupe. This I would call a creamy kind of pore filling primer. primer. There is a lot of creaminess to this actually, and I think a little bit of added moisture. You know, you just swipe the finger on that and you're picking up quite a bit of product, and then you can see it just kind of filling in. I can see it filling in on the lines on my fingers. You can see it filling in on the back of your hand if you test it that way. Like, it's a really cool product, and I think it is effective. Now, many people will talk about the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer as being a dupe for that, and I see why they say it, because it is kind of balmy like that. You put your finger in, it does have some creaminess to it, you know, I get where that's coming from, but to me it's a little more solid and just a little more dry compared to the Tatcha. But recently I tried this one from Hard Candy. Let me get it out here. It's the Smoothing Primer Balm. This is a newer thing to their line, and you touch this product and I feel like it's really got the same creaminess as the Tatcha one. Like, you can just feel that there's more moisture in this than there is the e.l.f. and it's very effective. Like, I love this. With the e.l.f. going on the skin, I feel like I'm really sort of pressing it in, almost pulling it across the skin, taking a little more effort. There's a bit more of a drag to it across the surface of the skin, and this, the creaminess level that it has, it just goes on a lot more easily, but I still get that beautiful kind of soft focus, pore-filled effect. So it's great around the nose, the sides of the nose, the forehead area. If you've got pores and fine lines, like I'm wearing this today and I'm loving the look. And I love the look immediately after I put it on. A pore filling primer, if it's doing it right, I think you should see kind of an effect from it right away. And I would have to say that this Hard Candy is the most similar to the Tatcha. While we're on the topic of skin prep steps, I will mention something that I know I've talked about in the past, but I'm going to throw it in here just because I think it's relevant, and maybe you missed me talking about this in the past. But Charlotte Tilbury's Hollywood Flawless Filter, a very interesting product here, because basically she's got a line of these highlightery kind of skin glow things that are all rooted more in a foundation shade range. Okay, so it looks kind of like a foundation, right, at a glance, but it's got a glow. It's got this doe foot applicator, and you put some on and it might have a hint of coverage. It's like mostly highlight mixed with a little foundation, you know what I'm saying? And it really gives the skin a pretty look. You can wear it in a multitude of ways. You could wear it as skin prep, let's say underneath a foundation, and then it gives you this nice radiance. You could mix it with a foundation. You could apply it on top of a foundation, more like a liquid highlight, let's say. There's just a lot of ways you can go, but there is a drugstore product that is really on par with this idea of looking like a skin-toned item that still has a lot of highlighter glow infused, and it's the L'Oreal Visible Lift. For me, like, this is the shade 2 in the Charlotte Tilbury. That's what I would wear. This color called Rose is actually really, really similar here. So if you look at me squeeze some of this out, you can see what I mean, how that looks kind of like a beigey, almost skin tone thing. I'm really not sure why they call it Rose, but you start to blend it in, and then you can see quite a bit of glow coming from that. So again, you could use it the very same way. Under makeup, over makeup, just however it suits you, mixed with your foundation. But it's really fascinating how similar these two are. There's a range in the Visible Lift. There's also a range in the Hollywood Flawless Filter in terms of shades. One more thing, another thing I've mentioned before, the e.l.f. Hydrating Coconut Mist. I would definitely compare this to the Too Faced Hangover Mist. I don't have the just regular one on hand. I've got the Hangover Peach scent here. The straight up Hangover Mist, I think it attempts to be kind of a coconut scent. I think this nails the coconut scent better. I think it's a better sprayer, and I love using this as part of the pre-makeup routine. You might just get going and mist your skin. I use this a lot with my nighttime skincare even. I would just like use it as an end step. I'd be like, okay, I've got it all on. Psh, psh, psh. Now I feel finished because I've sprayed this lovely, yummy smelling coconut mist all over. But this has hyaluronic acid and vitamin E. I feel like it's got some of the same skincare benefit claims as the Too Faced Hangover Mist does, but to me it's leaps and bounds better. I mean, I can't get over the fact that e.l.f. seems to put really good sprayers on their mists, and it's not an expensive brand, and I don't think you're ever really paying for great packaging with e.l.f., but they can do a sprayer better than Too Faced. Okay, that's it guys. I hope this was helpful to you if you are really trying to get a pre-makeup routine together with your skin prep. This might give you some ideas. I'm not saying you need each and every one of these steps as your skin prep before makeup, but you might decide, hey, I need a moisturizer moisturizer, I need an eye cream, I'm looking for a good primer. Of course, add in your sunscreen to that and let's go. I'm just letting you know what I like and what I've come up with that could definitely save you some money if you want something similar. So thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you're doing well and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye. And I just realized I think I have some dried baby drool on my shirt. Great.